Hi, Virgo Sun and Rising. Welcome to your May 2024 Astral Update. It's Raina here. Well, I'm going to get right into it, and I'm going to mention a transit that is actually occurring in April, but it's the last day of April. So it's going to be in play all through May into June, and this is Mars into its own sign of Aries. This is affecting your eighth house, which is a house of shared resources, other people's money, which can mean that there is some conflict therein. If you had a solar eclipse here back in April, so that may have set things off, triggered this area in some way. Yes, it could be some kind of a new situation that the eighth house is a house of death. So when we think of other people's money with this house, it's a no-brainer to think of inheritances. And as you may know, unfortunately, inheritances sometimes are accompanied by infighting among family, which is really sad, but a reality. But the eighth house is also the house of shared resources. So if you have gotten divorced, that is another time when this can really come into play. And Mars could be that there is conflict about who owns what, who gets what, monetarily. But another area that the eighth house can be is about personal transformation. So you may be very active in this. This is more on the interior level because this is a water house. So this is Scorpio's domain. So it's dealing with your emotional well-being or self. And Mars, but it can be your spiritual side. This is one of those houses that I associate with the spiritual, along with the 12th house. And, I associate things like shamanism, which can have different practices. And some of them might even be physical. Speaking of physical, Mars can be the libido, and the eighth house is one of the sex houses. But as somebody pointed out to me, it's like sex magic. So it's intentional sex. It's not the fifth house, recreational sex. So, Mars might be very targeted, like tantric yoga or something along those lines. On the 2nd of May, Pluto goes retrograde at 2 degrees of Aquarius, and this is in your 6th house of work. So Pluto in your 6th house can be a time when you are obsessed with power. You may walk into a workplace, let's say it's a new job that you have, and say, I'm going to be running this joint in 5 years, and I'm going to do everything in my power to get there. Now, if you do something like that, the 6th house can be coworkers. They can see how you're behaving, and they might say, who the hell does she or he think that they are? They're trying to make me look bad as a fellow worker by coming in early and staying late. And they can, there can be power plays that are developed as a result, because the person feels that other people may feel like you are trying to make them look bad. Or maybe this is just something that you happen upon, where you're in this place and other people are dealing with power issues, and they want you to they feel threatened by a new person in the workplace, and so they gang up on you. And sometimes I think of Pluto as kind of behind the scenes, where everything is happening. But in any case, when Pluto goes retrograde, you're looking within yourself about these things, rather than like, they're doing this to me, What am I doing to myself? Am I contributing to this scenario? Maybe I'm, unintentionally threatening them. Virgo, you rule this area of life, so it's no wonder somebody would be intimidated, because you tend to be, a very efficient person, somebody who's a very valuable worker. And, I could see you running a company because of that, but you tend to be very unassuming. So this may be uncharacteristic of you if you are wanting to be in a position that is more powerful. That is not the typical way that I think of Virgos. But if so, with your type of habits, you may very well achieve those goals. But you also have to look within and see, why do I want this? What am I doing? Am I overdoing it? Also, this is the house of health, and Pluto, I have said this before, I'll say it again. Pluto in the 6th house can lead to eating disorders, not across the board. But Virgo, especially, I think Virgo rising, which is ruling that first house, which has to do with the body. And Virgo can be very self-conscious and self-critical. So Virgo rising people in particular might be very vulnerable about how they look, and, very unaccepting of how they look. And Pluto gets into this house. You might develop an obsession with controlling your food intake. So be very careful about that. Also, there's another, besides anorexia, there's something called orthorexia, where somebody is trying to eat clean, but then they take it overboard. They go overboard. Pluto can be about cleansing and purification, but anything can be taken too far. This is about looking within and like, why am I doing this? It's also, it's that shadow work. And sometimes people realize that they're really doing it because they want to be, like, for instance, with anorexia, they want to disappear, meaning that, like sometimes if a woman is sexually abused, she might want to look she doesn't want, when she starts to develop, she's sexually abused, she wants to look like a child again, or she just wants to be unattractive, undesirable, no sexual characteristics. That's what I really meant. But not necessarily knowing that on the conscious level. And other things, why would somebody want to be, to obsess over a pure diet? They might have fear of death. And Pluto is connected to Scorpio, the 8th house, and death. So it's really about kind of getting a handle on these things and saying, what is really going on here, so that things don't become an obsession. On the 7th, we have a new moon at 18 degrees of Taurus. This is very favorable for Virgos, because this is a fellow earth sign. So it trines you, and it's coming from the 9th house. So this is the house of Sag. And I'm a sun in Sag with the moon in Virgo. So there you go. But it's the house that is associated with expansion, whether it's mental expansion through academia or geographical expansion through foreign travel. There could be some new developments here. You did have in April, and this is actually happening in the future as I record this on April 20th, for those listening before then, where there's this conjunction between Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus, and it's almost at the same degree as this new moon. So there might be some connection to that new moon, where it is going to allow you to travel. So maybe it was just kind of came out of the blue. But I feel like for some of you, this may even have some connection with home, maybe moving house too. I'll get to that in a minute. On the 15th, Mercury goes into Taurus. So Maybe you're signing up for college and you're contacting them. Maybe you're making your travel plans, getting your passport. Mercury can be the paperwork and all of that. On the 20th, the sun goes into Gemini. So the sun is going into that 10th house. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Virgo, you're going to have a lot of good fortune with career during the next year, and just your life in general is going to be very significant starting now really, but in September there's going to be a lunar eclipse in your home area, the 4th house, so be aware of that. I mean, I'm sorry, not your home, but your relationships in your 7th house of committed partnerships. So that could be triggered as well. But on the 23rd, okay, so you have the sun going into your career sector on the 20th, and then on the 23rd, there's a full moon in the opposite house, the 4th house of home and family, at almost 3 degrees of Sagittarius. So the sun is, opposing it from that 10th house. So what that means is that this issue of home and family versus career is really featured for you. Is really like, okay, what is it that I'm supposed to be, what should I be focusing on? But you may be letting go of something home-wise. Maybe it is an actual home. On the same day, Venus goes into Gemini. So Venus is in conjunction with that sun, which is at an early degree of Gemini. And that really is a good omen for career matters, because Venus is one of those benefic planets that really helps. I mean, the 10th house is the house of authority figures, and Venus can make them very, favorable towards you. And that can open doors for you. You might get some favors from people in high places. And then 2 days later, Jupiter goes into that area. And I'm going to do a separate video about Jupiter in Gemini because it is going to last a year. Venus is going to, leave that area within a few weeks. But boy, I mean, for the next few weeks, you have both of these planets in the 10th house of career. So look to, the latter, last week of May and into June, where career starts to really sizzle. All right, that's what I have for you, Virgo. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, I'm promoting my double astrology readings, which are called my deep dive readings. They're package deals, so they're specially priced compared to those readings separately bought. One is an hour of natal chart analysis, and the other is an hour of transits for the upcoming 12 months for a special price. And I also have career life path type of readings where I combine the career and life path, love readings, natal chart for your young children, looking at their talents, maybe their core personality traits to understand them better. Yeah, all kinds of readings. You can find out more information at the link below. I'm at RainaMoonAstrology.com. Thanks for listening. Bye.